So let's break down a typical sales order workflow to kind of put you in the head of the average warehouse manufacturing inventory e-commerce driven company that's going to be using the Android app and understand at what point the app is used. So the first step is a QuickBooks desktop user will create a sales order. So that happens on the QuickBooks desktop side. The second step is a QuickBooks desktop user. It could be the same person that created the sales order or a different user, maybe a shipping manager or whatever. They're going to initiate, they're going to pick which sales orders are going to be sent for picking. Then the phone user opens up the app, looks at all the outstanding sales orders sent for picking, not all the sales orders, only the ones that were sent for picking. They physically go to the shelf, bring the products down, and once they got the sales order completely brought from the shelf into, let's call it a staging area, into a table or whatever it is, at that point, they're going to mark it picked. Then on the QuickBooks desktop side, a QuickBooks desktop user, again, it could be the same person that created the sales order, same person that sent it for picking, or maybe a different person. They're going to look at all the picked sales orders, and then they're going to send them for packing. So it's a two-step process. At that point, they're going to print the packing slip and print the shipping label for the person when they mark it packed. Hopefully, packing means it's in the box is sealed, it's got a shipping label, it's on the door of the warehouse waiting for the FedEx or UPS person to come pick them up, right? So that's typically what the purpose of sending to packing is to do all that. Then the Android app user is going to look at all the open sales orders that are marked to be packed. They're going to pick them. They're going to physically pack them. They're going to mark them packed in the app. They might at that point enter the weight or the dimensions of the box in case the shipping label hasn't been completed yet. If that's the case, then the shipping label can be printed afterwards. Then the desktop user is going to then print the shipping label if they didn't do it proactively, so it's only if applicable, and then marks the sales order as shipped. Then a QuickBooks desktop user, the same or a different one, will open up each of the shipped sales orders and convert them into an invoice one by one, so they can now officially relieve the inventory of QuickBooks, and then any standard accounts receivable process like receiving a payment, applying a credit memo, making a deposit, whatever, that follows afterwards. So that's a typical sales order workflow when it comes to interacting with the Android app. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a sales order. And let's say that we have a new customer. Let's say we have Brand Corpse. Okay, it's our customer. And they requested 1,000 of fruit to go. So let's put here 1,000. And then they also requested, let's say, 50 goldfish. Okay, for whatever reason, that's what the order is. That's what they requested. That's what goes on the sales order. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save and New. And I'm also going to have another client. Let's see, we have XXY Corporation. Click at that. And they're going to request, let's say, some Welch's mixed fruit and some Ritz crackers. Okay. So they're going to request, let's say, 100 Welch and 100 Ritz crackers. Okay. Sorry about that. So that's sales order number 2. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save and Close. So now we're going to go into Customers, Sales Order Fulfillment Worksheet. And we're going to see our 2 open sales orders. Okay, so we got our 2 open sales orders here. It tells me how many items are on each sales order. In some cases, the shipping address and shipping details, that could be useful in case you want to batch them, based on state or address or whatever. I don't know why they picked those specific columns. It would be nice that I could pick what columns would be useful to see here. Like in my opinion, it would be nice for me to be able to see this column down here, memo, or possibly any of the, let me open up the sales order again. Possibly any of these fields will be useful to see. Unfortunately, it's not on the screen. The one that's particularly a pet peeve for me is I typically, when I create sales orders, when I configure sales orders for my clients, I add a field called estimated ship date. Okay, this is right here under the ship date header field. I always create this because what I want to do is I want the salespeople or the people that talk to clients to be able to put when the customer expects us to ship the product. And the reason why this is useful is because of priority. We can prioritize the ones that need it now and not have to prioritize the ones that need it later. Okay, so that's actually kind of a interesting concept per se. And unfortunately, this is valuable when you're looking at the sales order, but it's not valuable from the perspective that when I go back into my sales order fulfillment worksheet, I cannot see that field. So if Intuit were to open up custom fields or header fields or memo fields to be added on the screen, this screen would be a lot more useful. But enough of that. Let's just talk about what it can do. So a couple of things you're going to notice. There's a field here that says fulfillable, and this tells you either yes or partial. And essentially what that means is yes means that everything that's on that sales order I have in stock, and partial means some of the things I have in stock, some I don't. So when I click on action, I can do the next step, which is send for picking. So I'm going to select this sales order and click on send for picking. So let's say we want to partially pick this one because it's, in this case, partially fulfillable. Let's go send for picking. And then on this screen, you're going to get more details. It's going to tell you right here, look, you got a client that wants Ritz crackers and mixed fruit, and you order 100 of each, and you do have 100 available for this item, but you got none for this item, right? So then at this point, you can specifically tell the warehouse person to not pick this product. So you actually need to actually tell it, no, don't pick this product, okay? And only pick the product that we do have in stock. So you're giving instructions to the picker to partially pick this sales order because we're partially going to ship it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next. And I'm going to uncheck the item that we don't want to pick at all. Click on next. And then on this screen, again, I'm going to put here, pick older ones, whatever that means, right? Just a note. And then I can hit the drop down and pick my warehouse user. So I'm going to send Hector those instructions. Hector, go pick this, okay? From this screen, you can print your pick list. So if on top of having the phone user get the instructions on the phone, you also want a paper pick list to print, you can click on print pick list straight from here, and then I'll do a preview. And basically this is like a sales order with all the items with the instructions of whether this is a partially pick or a full pick, only with the stuff that you need to pick. So this is the paper version of the mobile device, so you can print it from here if you want to. Okay, so then I'm gonna click OK, and now notice that my status is sent for pick. So now QuickBooks has tagged the sales order as sent for pick. If I open up the sales order, notice over under here where it says sales order, the status is sent for pick. This is awesome having sales orders with statuses. However, it's not that functional because it doesn't show up in reports. It's only visual in this screen and when you actually have the sales order in front of you. You cannot run a report with those statuses next to it. Anyway, so now this has been sent for pick. So now it's time to go to our mobile device. So let me go into my mobile device here. Okay, and I'm in my warehouse app over here, so you can see it. So I'm on my warehouse app, and as I mentioned earlier, this warehouse user doesn't even have to be in the same office where QuickBooks is. As long as they have internet access, they can be in a different state. They can be in a different country for that matter. This is all going to be cloud-based, 100% wireless cloud-based. So this wireless device will need to be connected to Wi-Fi, or it could even have cell phone service set up, right? If there's no Wi-Fi in that physical location, if it happens to be separate from location for where QuickBooks is. Then the warehouse user will log in. They would, so I'm gonna log in as Hector in this case. And then you're gonna notice on this screen, you're gonna see where it says pick assigned to me. So you see it right there. Okay, so that's where I got my my instructions, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do my pick. I'll select pick. And then all the sales orders that were open for picking, it will be here. Not all the sales orders in QuickBooks only the ones that have been assigned to me as the warehouse user. And notice that the note is right there. It says pick older ones, right? So the notes are there. So if that means anything, then as a picker, I'll know what to do. So I'm going to select my item, and I actually have two choices. One, if I don't have a built-in barcode scanner in my Android device, I can simply pick the item. I can hit plus a couple of times until I pick the actual amount that I wanted to pick, or I go in the actual amount and I just manually type the number of items that I'm picking. So I don't have to use the barcode scanner. I can simply just manually type the number or hit plus or minus to arrive to that. However, of course, we want to use the barcode scanner, right? Because we want to see how this whole thing works. So I'm going to grab and scan this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what you want to picture is a person in a ladder somewhere with the device in their hand, right? A wireless device. It's plugged in for electricity right now, but you have the wireless device, and they're literally grabbing products off the shelf, right? And every time they grab one, they scan it, and then they, I don't know, put it in a bucket or something. And then once they're done scanning, they're just gonna scan every item. They scan all 100 because this is meant to add controls, inventory control. So they pick the right product and they ship the right amount of product, right? That's the purpose of this, correct? So that's the idea. The idea is that they're sitting there and they're scanning each one until they scan everything they have. Let's say they physically don't have 100 and they get to 90. Well, that's it. That's what there is. There was 90. There was nothing else. At this point, the picker will go to add note, and then they will type something like, there was no more, or other than were expired. Whatever, right? I mean, whatever notes would be pertinent to the person over the QuickBooks world to know, hey, well, how come you didn't pick the entire product? How come we're not selling all 100, right? So, and then they're going to click on, they're going to hit the little checkbox that they save the note. Then they're done with this, right? Then they're going to click on pick. And it's now basically giving feedback to the user that you've partially picked this partial PO even. And then we're going to go ahead and click on finish. And it says, are you sure you want to complete this pick list? You hit yes. And then hit continue. And then it tells you good job. So if you don't have a good warehouse manager that pats people on the back in the warehouse, the app can do that in your behalf. All right, so the pick list has been complete. Now I'm going to switch over to QuickBooks Desktop. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the tab up here that says pick, because I want to see what has been picked. So I'm going to click on pick, and then down here in the bottom, it says update sales order. In some cases, it wouldn't be updated automatically, and you want to click update sales order, and you want to make sure that the notes come in and the instructions come in. And notice that here's my note. See, there was no more, and now my status is complete. My pick status is complete. Not the entire workflow, but my pick status is complete. Now from here, from this screen, all you can do is go to view pick list, and you can see what was picked. You can see the notes from the warehouse user. If there are more than one note, you can see them there. You can see when the notes were added. Notice that all this is time-stamped, which is really, really good. Then we click on, we get out of there, and then we can also print the packing slip, the pick list, or the packing slip from here. So that's actually possible. I can print the packing slip. Now this will be a sales order packing slip, which is different than an invoice packing slip, but it will work either way. So we'll go ahead and close that, and that's it. So now I have a list here that shows me all my items that are under pick status. That's what this tab is. You know, how many of your sales orders are under pick status. Let's do this one more time. I'm going to grab the other order, the one that's fully fulfillable. Go to send for picking. So we'll send that for picking. And then go to next. I'm going to send this to Mary Smith. Go to send to device. Hit OK. Switch over to the Android device. Okay. And then I'm logged in as Hector now. So there's no numbers anywhere. Everything's a 0. So I have to log out, and I'm going to log in as Mary now. So, and we will probably assume that Mary has her own phone, right? She has her own phone that she's working with to do this. Then she's going to click on pick, select the item, right? Pick the two items that are being picked. At this point, they can scan or manually enter them. Okay, as we mentioned earlier, no notes. This is going to be a standard pick. Pick the items, click on pick, click on finish. Yes, good job. Then we switch over to QuickBooks Enterprise. We're going to go into pick, update the sales orders, and I'll notice that my picking has been complete. Okay. When I go back into dashboard, then we can see our new status. So we have our new sales orders. One has been partially picked and the other one has been fully picked. So then the next step, assuming that you don't do express pick pack, it's now send them to get packed. So I'm going to go send this one to get packed. So I'm going to go to send for packing. This is me giving instructions to the warehouse person to put them on a box of some sort. I'm going to assign who's going to pack this. Let's say Mary's going to pack this, and then click on send to device. Click OK. And let's do both. Let's also do send this to Mary as well, so she can pack both. Okay. From here, I can print my shipping label. I can mark as shipped. We're not doing that yet. But if I also wanted to give them a shipping label to print, I would go to print shipping label. If I have enabled FedEx, UPS, or USPS digital account, I can connect that to QuickBooks, print the shipping label, and send it to print on whatever physical printer it's close to Mary. If you're not on the same network, or you don't have a virtual printer network set up where you can print on Mary's computer, you're going to have to either print it as a PDF, email it to her, or she's going to have to log into QuickBooks and print the shipping labels herself. And note, you don't have to use the QuickBooks built-in shipping labels. Like some people have just a computer by itself with the USPS app and they print the shipping labels manually without getting the data from QuickBooks. What's nice about using the built-in shipping label tool is that it will automatically populate name, address, size, and weight of the package. And we'll talk about that briefly. So I'm going to switch over back to the app. Okay. I'm going to refresh. I'm logged in as Mary. Now notice that there's two orders on their pack. It says pack assigned to me 2. So you can see that right there, assigned to me 2. I would click on that, and then I can scroll up and scroll down and see all the orders that are available for packing. If the address was there, the address would show up in there. It's just I skipped that part. And it tells you which sales order number is. And if there's multiple warehouse locations, you could choose the warehouse location to pack from, assuming that you have different warehouse locations and different warehouse users working from different warehouse locations. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first sales order. I'm going to pick the 2 items. I'm going to hand count the amount or scan it. You can also scan at this point if you want to verify that the amount being picked is the amount going into the box. Same thing here. Put the quantities, go to create package. Then I would put the dimensions. So let's say this is 10 pounds and 5 by 3 by 2, whatever it is. Okay, then click on OK. Then I'm going to go finish this. So that was the first package. Then I'm going to go to my other one, select it, select the item, confirm the quantity that's inside the box. Again, you can scan the quantities, go to create package, add dimensions or weight if you want to, hit yes, and finish, and yes. So now my warehouse user went ahead and indicated that both of those orders are now inside a box with shipping material, possibly with the packing slip inside of them, and sealed and taped, and maybe has a label on it. I mean, that there's no way to tell it whether or not you printed a label on this, but it's going to be sort of assumed in the workflow. Okay, so we go back into QuickBooks Desktop here. I'm going to go into Pack and click on Update Sales Order to make sure that these have been updated. And notice that now we have our packed and complete process here. And let me update this one too. Okay, so now these have been updated. When I go back into the dashboard, now I can see that these have been packed or partially packed. So you see both examples. And then at this point, I would have to, the QuickBooks desktop user would have to then mark them as shipped. Okay, so I can select all of them here in batch and mark them all as shipped. Okay, so I can do that in batch as well and say, yep, all these have been shipped. Click on marked as shipped. Click on yes. One of my pet peeves is I wish you can mark it as shipped on the phone app, but you can't. So it needs to be the desktop user that marks it as shipped. So now that they've been marked as shipped, then the desktop user needs to create each of these invoices individually. So they'll open up the sales order, and because it's been marked shipped, now they know that they need to do the next step, which is create it as an invoice. So they'll simply just create an invoice, click on that, click OK, and ship it, right? And there's some errors with quantities there, but we'll ignore that. And then go to the next sales order, go to create invoice, OK, save and close. And now that after they've been shipped, they have to be created as an invoice. One pet peeve that I have here is there's no way to click on batch actions and convert them all into invoices in one shot. That feature is not available. I wish it was there because otherwise this would be useful, but no, you got to do one. You still have to create one invoice at the time. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works. Then when I refresh my dashboard, they're no longer going to be there because they're no longer open sales orders. Here under pick and pack, they will still show up in there because we have all statuses turned on. In this case, I want to have only sent for pick status on this, and on pack, I only really want to see sent for pack status, or I can leave all statuses. Unfortunately, there's no way to get rid of them from this screen if you select all statuses. All statuses mean it will still show the ones that have been complete. So you can pick one of these, but there isn't a all but completed status in there. That would be nice. That would be functional. But hey, that's not how QuickBooks operates, right? They don't do things that are always logical. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and do an express pack, pick pack, so you can see how it works. Let me go ahead and create a sales order, another sales order. And I'm gonna select, let's say, another same customer here and pick some fruit to go. Do I have any in stock for these? We do. So let's go ahead and ship 500 of these. Sales order. I'll click on save and close. And now I'm gonna go back into customers, sales order fulfillment worksheet. And instead of doing the two-step process, I'm gonna send these. I'm gonna click on select and send it for express pick pack. And basically that's both pick and pack combined. So I go to send express pick pack. Then I click on yes. I'm gonna print my pick pack list, which is basically my packing list if I want to. Assign this to Hector and click on send device. Click OK. Switch over to the mobile device. Okay, I'm gonna go back and log in as Hector. Okay, now you see them here where it says express pick pack right there. One assigned to me. I'll click on that. I'll pick my item. The workflow at this point is the same. I select it. I either scan it or hand key the quantities. Click on pick. Proceed to pack. Hit yes. Then I go to add package. Add dimensions if I want to. Hit OK. Yes. And done. And yes. So that's it. I completed 2 steps, pick and pack, all in one shot. I go back into QuickBooks. Okay. I'm going to go into Express Pick Pack. Now notice that this order is now status packed. Okay. I'm going to click on Update Sales Order. You always have to update the sales order so I can go back into my dashboard. Actually, from here, I can only view the Express Pick Pack or print the packing slip. So I want to make sure that you know that. But then I'm going to go back into dashboard. And then from here, I'll do the next step, which is then marked as shipped. Yes. And then manually create the sales order, convert it into an invoice. Okay. So yes, you have to manually create each invoice as they're shipped. There's no like pop-up or alert or batching entry. You have to log back into the screen. You have to look at all the orders that are on their ship status. Like you literally have to look at all the ones that's on their ship status. And then once they're on their packed status, so you look at all the ones that are packed, so everything that is packed or completed, and then you have to manually mark it as shipped or actually create the invoice for it. So that's part of the workflow you do still have to do in QuickBooks Desktop.